here.
Now, the guy who supposedly was making the threat, at least according to this report by an established journalist, was armed.
Authorities didn't just drop the case, they torched years of sealed evidence. In today's Flash, why Diddy walked free, what was buried, and the bombshell twist no one expected in the D4VD scandal. There's more to this than headlines reveal. If justice bends for fame, who's really in control? Comment with one celeb, you believe the system protected too much. We're reading all of them. It wasn't just a case dropped, it was a full legal blackout. What began as a multi-agency investigation involving federal surveillance and sealed grand jury testimony ended in total silence. No press conference, no final statement, just a quiet, unceremonious withdrawal from the spotlight. For months, prosecutors appeared ready to go the distance. There were even internal leaks pointing to dozens of corroborated testimonies. Then, in a single day, everything changed. That's not just a dismissal, it's a controlled demolition of momentum. When accountability vanishes like that, people notice. Here's the strange part. A key memo tied to the case was marked confidential, yet it appeared online weeks before the dismissal. That memo, never acknowledged publicly, revealed an upper-level DOJ directive that paused evidence handling. The name on the order, someone tied to a past campaign donor list. It wasn't just a legal decision, it was a political grenade with the pin pulled halfway. Within 48 hours of the leak, one of the prosecutors quietly resigned. There was no press release. No thank you. Just an empty chair and more questions than answers. It happened just days before court filings were scheduled to go public. Diddy's team finalized a private settlement with one of the lead accusers. The number was large, but the NDA was even bigger. These types of settlements are legal, sure, but they shift everything. Prosecutors reportedly lost access to some materials after the agreement was signed. Worse, it weakened their leverage with other witnesses. Suddenly, the strongest testimony became sealed behind contractual silence. The case lost weight, and once the dominoes start falling, momentum is almost impossible to recover. Judges usually keep their cards close, but not this time. At a routine procedural hearing, the judge made an unusual remark about external complexities disrupting procedural norms. Legal experts jumped on the phrase. It wasn't just vague, it was pointed. Then, oddly, the court transcript vanished from the public docket, not redacted, removed. When asked about it, the clerk's office referred all questions to an unnamed federal liaison. That's highly abnormal in a civil matter. What external complexities force a transcript off the record? Whatever it wasn't small. When cases get sealed, it's often to protect sensitive data. But this one, it went a step further. Multiple sources confirmed portions of the case were sealed using a national security provision. That's typically reserved for espionage or counterterrorism, not a music industry case. The provision blocked public access to certain digital records, emails, and forensic phone data. The rationale? Unknown. And because the classification exists, no court is obligated to explain. This isn't just red tape, it's titanium armor around the truth. Even FOIA requests hit a dead end. She came forward in May, an ex-staff member with direct knowledge of internal communications and financial transfers. She spoke to CNN, handed documents to prosecutors, and gave a sworn statement. Then, in July, nothing. No follow-ups, no retractions, no arrests. She was last seen in New York, leaving a legal office in Manhattan. And while speculation swirled online, major outlets fell completely silent. Her disappearance didn't make the evening news or any news at all. For someone once labeled a key witness, she's now a ghost in the record. Contrary to public perception, Diddy's legal team didn't aggressively challenge the truth of the allegations. Instead, they went after the case structure, disputing timelines, evidence chains, and jurisdiction. One motion even claimed a crucial witness wasn't properly vetted under federal guidelines. It wasn't about guilt or innocence, it was about whether the case could be prosecuted. That's a powerful difference. With enough technical wins, a defense doesn't need to prove anything, just poke enough holes to make the structure collapse. It worked. The final motion was granted without full hearing. Here's something most people don't realize. Prosecutors absolutely track public sentiment, especially in celebrity cases. A 2022 legal review found that in cases involving famous figures, if public opinion is highly polarized, the chances of dismissal rise by 60%. Why? Because jury nullification becomes a serious risk. When the public's trust in a system wavers, the system starts protecting itself. Prosecutors reportedly flagged the optics burden of continuing the case. In layman's terms, the backlash might outweigh the benefit. That's not justice, it's a political risk calculation. If this shocked you halfway through, wait till you see what evidence got leaked from inside a closed grand jury. Hit subscribe and drop a flame if you think none of this is coincidence. At first, the D4VD story looked like a minor controversy, an ambiguous post, a poorly worded caption, and a few fan reactions online. But then came the leak. Private messages contradicting public statements, time-stamped images that didn't match reported timelines, and redacted portions of an ER intake form. Suddenly, the tone shifted. Analysts flagged inconsistencies, and legal forums exploded with speculation. The kicker: a non-public incident report surfaced that referenced an unnamed third party who allegedly left the scene. This wasn't just bad optics, it started looking like evidence management. When D4VD's team released a carefully worded apology video, fans noticed something odd. The metadata revealed the video had been recorded 2 full days before the controversy hit mainstream news. That detail triggered deeper investigation. Why film an apology before the public outcry? Was it preemptive damage control, or a sign they expected fallout? Even the lighting matched a recent behind-the-scenes shoot, suggesting it was done during a completely unrelated event. PR professionals quietly criticized the move, calling it too polished, too early. Sometimes preparation looks like prediction. 3 days before D4VD's name disappeared from a sealed indictment list, DOJ officials conducted a non-public visit to a private recording studio in Los Angeles. No warrant was filed publicly. No charges were brought. But 2 sources confirmed several servers were quietly removed from the premises under sealed subpoena. The studio's management denied any visit ever happened. But photos leaked from a staff member's now-deleted social account told a different story, showing federal agents loading hard drives into unmarked vehicles. The files were never officially entered into evidence. A key figure in D4VD's business team, his former road manager, was recently revealed to be cooperating with federal authorities. What's strange is that this same individual was quietly charged last year in a separate cyber fraud investigation involving cryptocurrency wash trades. His plea deal includes a cooperation clause. Sources suggest he's now providing insight into financial transactions between D4VD, LLC, and a short-lived shell corporation registered in Nevada. The same corporation appeared briefly in a wire transfer related to settlement discussions. It raises questions about layered legal exposure. In a study of high-profile misconduct cases, researchers found that victims with credible claims often choose to settle not because they want resolution, but because the online harassment becomes overwhelming. In the D4VD matter, the initial accuser deleted all social media less than 48 hours after going public. Her attorney stated she received over 500 threatening messages in that time. Psychologists call it secondary trauma, damage inflicted after the event by public reaction. Many victims describe the settlement process as survival, not closure. The system offers protection only after silence. It happened during a procedural sidebar. Courtroom mics weren't supposed to be active, but one caught a brief exchange between D4VD's defense attorneys. In a barely audible clip, one voice says, "We told him not to text." The clip leaked through a court transcriptionist who posted anonymously online, and it spread quickly before being taken down. Legal analysts debated the implications. Was it frustration, an offhand comment, or an accidental admission of foreknowledge? The court never acknowledged it officially, but insiders say the clip caused panic mode inside the defense team. BuzzFeed, Vice, and Complex each had freelance journalists investigating both Diddy and D4VD related allegations. Drafts were submitted, according to internal leaks, and 2 had accompanying interviews ready for publication. Then silence. Editors pulled the pieces without explanation. Former staff hinted on social media that new executive pressure may have come from parent companies or outside investors. One reporter even alleged she was told to redirect the narrative toward more general industry trends. Nothing was retracted, just shelved. That kind of coordinated silence doesn't happen by accident. A 2021 Harvard Media Lab study found that when a music brand is tied to a public scandal involving federal investigation, the average reputational damage index spikes 28% higher than equivalent scandals in the film or sports industries. The reason? Music fans form stronger identity-based connections with artists. Labels are terrified of this because identity drives streaming and streaming drives revenue. That's why music executives tend to act faster, more aggressively, and more quietly. In many cases, public loyalty means nothing if corporate sponsorship evaporates overnight. The cases may seem closed to the public, but multiple legal watchdog groups are quietly filing FOIA requests, cross-referencing sealed court motions, and tracking financial transactions connected to known entities in both scandals. A recent court scheduling slip revealed an unexpected pretrial motion involving an unnamed third party, raising eyebrows among legal analysts. That name is now being redacted in updated court documents, even though it appeared unredacted in the original PDF. Meanwhile, several defense filings are being updated retroactively, something usually only done when new scrutiny is anticipated. Across the last 2 years, at least 11 high-profile music industry legal cases have shown the same sequence. Sudden leaks, sealed evidence, undisclosed settlements, and the quiet withdrawal of charges. Some involved known executives. Others were smaller artists, still protected by powerful teams. But the legal mechanics were eerily consistent, pointing to a template being reused across firms. In internal emails leaked last year, one crisis management agency even described it as a standard risk blueprint for Tier 1 clients. What began as coincidence now looks like coordination. 2 names, 2 scandals, one evolving pattern. When cases vanish this fast and evidence disappears faster than headlines form, it raises more than suspicion. It signals infrastructure. Not chaos, not coincidence, strategy. And somewhere behind the polished denials, pre-recorded apologies, and redacted court filings is a third name already being whispered in legal forums. A sealed filing in a different state. A music industry connection. A familiar signature. We're watching closely because next time it won't be speculation, it'll be exposure.